Los Angeles, the city of dreams, a place where millions come to seek fame, fortune, and a chance to make their voice heard. But for every superstar, there are thousands standing on the sidelines, hoping for a miracle. Meet Maya. Every evening, this corner of LA became her stage. She wasn't singing for tips. Not really. She was singing to keep a promise to her family, a promise to her dream. Her voice, raw and filled with soul, was her only shot. She knew the odds were stacked against her. Every passerby was just another face in the crowd. Until one evening, that night, a different kind of audience member stepped into the spotlight. Unbeknownst to Maya, as she poured her heart out into the music, an influential millionaire was passing by. He wasn't looking for entertainment. He was looking for something real. What happens next defies everything you think you know about success in Hollywood. The moment this man stops and truly listens, changes everything. Stick around, because you won't believe how this story ends. This is the unexpected journey of a poor girl on the streets of LA. Maya, the poor girl, performs daily on a stage defined by indifference and anonymity. The street corner. This location is designed to render her invisible. Her visible audience is transient, preoccupied, and financially limited, capable only of providing pocket change, never the systemic change she desperately needs. They see a busker, they hear background noise, they register a fleeting moment of street theater. This immediate, visible audience acts as a foil, starkly contrasting with the immense power vested in the single, delayed, unseen audience, the millionaire. His sudden appearance and attentive presence are the literal embodiment of the hidden opportunity. A figure whose gaze and attention instantly hold the power to dismantle her entire reality of struggle and debt. The very concept relies on the statistical improbability of an individual with such vast leverage being momentarily available, emotionally receptive, and geographically present at the exact critical moment of her performance. He is not merely a rich man, he is the designated delivery system for fate, momentarily stepping outside the insulated bubble of his high-powered life to witness an act that was never intended for his eyes. The street is the great equalizer, yet also the great amplifier of talent. Unlike a polished audition, the performance here is raw, exposed, and subject to the harshest environmental critiques. The roar of a passing bus, the sudden chill of the evening, the discouragement of a nearly empty guitar case. Her talent must possess a purity and force so compelling that it can cut through this urban cacophony, reaching the sophisticated, perhaps jaded ears of the millionaire. He, in his world of calculated risks and manufactured aesthetics, is constantly searching for the genuine article, the asset that cannot be replicated. When he hears Maya, he is not hearing a trained voice seeking approval. He is hearing an authentic soul pouring its narrative into the melody. This authenticity is the magnet that pulls him out of his planned routine. The unseen audience is defined by this perceptive capability. He sees past the worn clothes and the humble setup, directly assessing the intrinsic value of the expression, a value that the visible audience is entirely blind to. He recognizes the immense talent fighting to emerge from crushing circumstance, and that recognition is the first, most precious facet of the hidden opportunity. The nature of this hidden opportunity is it is not a mere contract, it is holistic rescue. A simple investment would fail if Maya remained encumbered by the necessity of survival, rent, medical bills, family support. The true opportunity the millionaire possesses and can offer is the immediate, unconditional removal of her circumstantial burdens. He can provide the foundational stability, financial, educational, and familial, that allows her talent to transition from a survival mechanism into a flourishing career. This immediate and complete removal of systemic obstacles is what makes the opportunity hidden. It is access to a world she didn't even know was available to her. A world of professional infrastructure, mentorship, and security. The millionaire becomes the ultimate gatekeeper who, by sheer chance, has chosen to open the gate not because of a scheduled pitch, but because of a spontaneous, emotional impulse. His action transforms the street corner from a place of desperate labor into the accidental genesis of her professional life. The psychological distance between Maya and the millionaire further emphasizes the magnitude of the unseen audience's arrival. Maya operates in an economy of pennies and struggle, where every decision is dictated by scarcity. The millionaire operates in an economy of millions and global leverage, where time and capital are infinite resources. The gap between them is vast, seemingly impassable. The only bridge capable of spanning this chasm is the universal language of authentic emotion carried by her voice. The millionaire, having achieved immense success, may suffer from the isolation and existential emptiness that often accompanies extreme wealth. He is constantly approached by supplicants, pretenders, and those seeking to leverage his power. Maya seeks nothing from him specifically. She is performing for her own survival and hope. This lack of direct solicitation gives her performance an purity that breaks through his guarded cynicism. Her art serves as a sudden, potent reminder of the raw, unfiltered human spirit he may have lost touch with, and by recognizing and rewarding her, he is perhaps also funding his own moral and emotional reconnection to reality. The unseen audience is not just observing her talent. He is witnessing his own potential for meaningful intervention. The fragility of the unseen audience's presence underscores the theme of fate. The scene must be imbued with the sense that this opportunity is balanced on a knife. The millionaire might have been distracted by a phone vibration just as her voice hit its most resonant note. Or a sudden gust of wind might have muffled her acoustics. The fact that he stopped, that he listened intently, that he chose to act on a spontaneous impulse rather than deferring to his schedule, is the miracle. His attention, which is his most valuable and scarce resource, is entirely dedicated to her for a brief, critical window of time. This focus validates her entire struggle, confirming that her dedication was not in vain, but merely waiting for the highly improbable arrival of the right perceiver. The narrative uses the high-stakes anonymous environment of LA to heighten this contrast. In a city where dreams are crushed daily beneath the weight of overwhelming competition and indifference, the presence of one person capable of reversing that dynamic represents a momentary suspension of the city's brutal laws. The unseen audience therefore becomes the personification of hope, appearing precisely where and when hope was most diminished. His recognition transforms her street performances, previously seen as public acts of desperate labor, into private auditions for her destiny. This unexpected convergence forces a revaluation of value for both characters. For Maya, the value of her own talent shifts from being a necessary chore to a powerful, globally relevant asset. For the millionaire, the value of his wealth shifts from being a tool for accumulation to a powerful instrument for instantaneous, positive change. The hidden opportunity reveals itself to be a two-way transformation. Maya gains the resources to match her talent, and the millionaire gains a purpose that transcends his balance sheet. His intervention is not merely a transaction, it is a profound moral investment in authenticity, proving that in a city built on manufactured dreams, the most valuable commodity remains the raw, unedited truth of the human voice. The physical location, the street, is forever altered in the collective memory of the viewer, no longer representing poverty but serving as the unexpected site where the highest echelons of power momentarily intersected with the lowest, creating a supernova of opportunity. The millionaire's gaze, the unseen audience's silent validation, grants Maya a visibility that is systemic and permanent, lifting her out of the urban shadows and into the blinding light of the future. The entire setup is a dramatic argument for the vigilance of the talented and the moral responsibility of the powerful, proving that the most life-changing events often occur without warning, without fanfare, and entirely outside the established channels of success. Her voice was the signal, and his unexpected detour was the moment the signal was finally, definitively received. The sustained focus on the unseen audience's singular attention emphasizes the weight of his judgment. He is not influenced by external factors, no critics, no reviews, no market data. His decision is based purely on the immediate, visceral impact of her sound. This makes his validation absolute and deeply satisfying for the viewer. It champions the purity of artistic merit over the complex, often corrupt, systems designed to filter talent. The hidden opportunity is defined by its lack of bureaucracy. The barrier between street and studio is dissolved instantly by the millionaire as a personal decree. His power allows him to circumvent the entire grinding process that usually crushes artists like Maya, proving that sometimes the fastest route to the top is a complete break with convention, necessitated by the sheer force of talent colliding with an unexpected, powerful perception. This collision is the genesis of the entire story, establishing the rule that in the game of life, the most important audience is often the one you never knew was watching. The environmental elements of the street scene, the cold, the noise, the feeling of being exposed must continuously remind the viewer of the magnitude of her courage. Her performance is an act of deep vulnerability, making the millionaire's gentle, respectful approach even more impactful. He does not treat her as a spectacle, he treats her as a revelation. This reverence from the unseen audience is the true goal. The hidden opportunity is thus wrapped in dignity and respect, recognizing the inherent worth of the person, not just the potential profitability of the product. The random, yet perfectly timed convergence of their paths elevates the entire narrative to the level of modern fable, showcasing the belief that sustained authenticity, even in the bleakest circumstances, possesses an intrinsic magnetic field strong enough to pull immense unexpected resources towards itself. His unexpected presence on that street corner was the single most valuable moment of his financial year, a spontaneous detour that led not to a deal, but to the priceless discovery of a talent worthy of being fully funded and celebrated. The street corner, once a symbol of her despair, becomes the sacred ground of her destiny, forever marked by the moment the world's most powerful, yet unseen, audience finally chose to listen. Maya's performance on the street is not merely a song, it is a profound, unedited testament to her endurance, her struggle, and her unwavering hope, a narrative delivered through melody that requires no translation. Her circumstance, poverty, the hostile urban environment, the gnawing anxiety of debts intended by the world to silence her, to render her invisible, yet her authentic expression weaponizes these very hardships, transforming them into raw emotional material that makes her voice compelling, inimitable, and ultimately irresistible to the millionaire. This authenticity is the precise commodity that the millionaire, in his insulated, rarefied world of curated luxury and transactional relationships, has been missing. He is accustomed to polished facades, calculated pitches, and performances designed to earn favor. Maya's singing is the antithesis of this, is an unfiltered, vulnerable outpouring of soul, and this genuine lack of pretense is what pierces his sophisticated cynicism. The street corner serves as the perfect crucible for testing this authenticity. Unlike a controlled audition where flaws are masked and emotion is rehearsed, the street demands honesty. Any false note, any lack of passion, would be immediately swallowed by the cacophony of the city. Her voice, therefore, must possess an elemental truth, a raw, piercing quality forged in the fires of necessity. When the millionaire stops, he is not merely appreciating her technique, but validating her existence. He is recognizing that the sound is an accurate, powerful index of her emotional investment, demonstrating a commitment to craft that far exceeds the potential financial return of busking. Her poverty, far from being a detractor, becomes the narrative frame that amplifies her brilliance. It certifies that her passion is not a hobby financed by trust funds, but a fierce, necessary labor of the spirit. The emotional transparency of her performance is a rarity in his world, a place where vulnerability is usually a liability. Maya's expression proves that vulnerability, when coupled with purpose, is the ultimate form of strength, creating an emotional force field that cuts through the noise and indifference of the city. This concept of expression overriding circumstance provides the moral authority for the millionaire's intervention. He is not performing an act of charity toward a poor girl. He is making a high-value investment in an artist whose core emotional product, her authenticity, is irreplaceable. He understands that the financial shackles of her circumstance are actively suffocating her talent, preventing it from reaching its natural, global audience. His wealth, therefore, becomes the instrument for correcting this injustice, a means of creating a circumstance where her authenticity can flourish, unburdened by the daily struggle for survival. He values the emotional purity of her voice precisely because it is untainted by the commercial pressures he knows so well. Her expression is non-transactional in its origin. It is an internal drive which makes it the most valuable asset in an economy obsessed with material gain. By pausing his powerful life to listen, the millionaire is engaging in a spiritual transaction. He is trading his material resource for the preservation of her spiritual and artistic truth. The deep psychological resonance of Keynote 2 lies in its universality. Every observer, including the millionaire, recognizes the effort required to maintain such passionate expression under duress. The contrast between her worn-out guitar and the soaring, impeccable quality of her voice is a visual metaphor for the triumph of the human spirit over material hardship. This dissonance is magnetic. Had she been merely talented, she would have earned a small, passing appreciation. Because she is authentically expressive, because her voice sounds like the autobiography of her struggle, she earns a life-altering intervention. Her voice becomes a powerful narrative that requires no prior knowledge. It tells the millionaire everything he needs to know about her dedication and worth within the span of a few verses. This immediate, unfiltered communication is the antidote to the guarded, overly mediated interactions that define his life of extreme wealth. She breaks the rules of social engagement simply by being emotionally honest. And that honesty is her greatest advantage. The thematic focus ensures that the audience understands Maya's transformation is deserved, not accidental. Her circumstance was the unfair barrier. Her expression was the key capable of unlocking the solution. She did not ask for money. She simply performed with every fiber of her being, and her performance was her greatest, most successful pitch. The emotional labor she expended every night on that street was her investment, and the millionaire's intervention is the ultimate, improbable dividend paid out on that investment. The story emphasizes that true wealth resides in the depth of feeling and sincerity one brings to the world, a form of capital that transcends the volatile financial markets. This commitment to truth, the refusal to let poverty cheapen her art, is what makes her a revolutionary figure in the narrative. A hero whose weapon is her voice and whose battlefield is the indifferent street corner. The millionaire is not saving a victim. He is elevating a queen whose royal decree is delivered through song, commanding attention and respect through sheer, unadulterated emotional force. This sustained focus on the power of her expression ensures that her subsequent success is viewed as moral justice, a correction of a fundamental error in the universe's assignment of worth, where her extraordinary talent was momentarily trapped within ordinary hardship, a trap that was ultimately broken by the sheer, overwhelming resonance of her own true voice, proving that the most valuable asset any person can possess is the courage to be entirely and unapologetically themselves, regardless of the noise of their circumstance. Her authenticity became the magnetic north that guided the millionaire to her exact location, ensuring that her expression would finally be rewarded with the resources it always deserved, transforming her struggle into a legend. This concept is the ultimate narrative tension builder because it places Maya's talent and hard work, her earned capital, at the mercy of pure unearned chance. The moment the millionaire passes her street corner is not a scheduled event. It is a chaotic, unpredictable convergence of two separate worlds, a fleeting intersection that defies statistical logic. To grasp the enormity of this coincidence, one must visualize the vast, continuous flow of the city, thousands of cars, millions of routes, and the constant, overwhelming volume of noise and activity. The odds that a single, high-valued decision-maker who possesses the power to dismantle her poverty overnight, interrupt his planned trajectory and choose to stop for a random street performance are astronomically small. Any tiny variable, a traffic jam clearing slightly earlier, the millionaire taking an alternate, non-confrontational route, a momentary distraction from a phone notification would have preserved the status quo, leaving Maya to continue her struggle in obscurity. The miracle is not that the millionaire had the money, but that he had the minute. The right time is therefore the most valuable asset in the entire story, more precious than the cash he ultimately gives her. Maya's talent had been ready for months, perhaps years, but it was inert, trapped by its environment. The arrival of the millionaire at that specific, perfect second is the spark that ignites her future. It champions the idea that dedication and preparation, while necessary, require a collaborator, luck, or fate. This perspective is vital because it speaks to the universal, human experience of feeling ready but waiting endlessly for the opportunity to appear. Maya's story validates the patience required during that prolonged wait, suggesting that the moment of deliverance is not earned through a predictable process, but delivered by an unpredictable, external force. The narrative uses the high-stakes environment of Los Angeles, a city synonymous with both dazzling success and heartbreaking failure, to emphasize the razor-thin margin between these two realities. For thousands of other talented performers busking that night, the millionaire drove by unseen, unheard. Maya's success is a triumph not only of her voice but of a highly specific, random, and unrepeatable confluence of external events. The right place amplifies this serendipity. The street corner is the anti-stage, a place of low expectation and high vulnerability. Had she been in a polished studio, her talent would have been expected. On the street, it is a revelation. This location is right precisely because it certifies the authenticity of her struggle to the millionaire. He encounters her stripped bare of the professional filters that often cloud artistic judgment. This unmediated, raw presentation, combined with the improbable timing of his detour, creates a narrative event of profound emotional weight. The story hinges on the idea that the universe, or fate, had to actively maneuver the millionaire, a man whose life is typically governed by rigid schedules and carefully managed environments, into a space of pure chaos and chance encounter. His stopping is an act of submission to the unpredictable, a moment where his vast power is rendered momentarily subservient to the beauty of a random sound. This narrative design makes the millionaire not just a benefactor, but an essential character in a divine comedy of chance. Psychologically, The element of serendipity deeply impacts the gratitude Maya feels. She understands that her success is tied to a fragile coincidence, not a contractual obligation. This knowledge fosters a profound sense of humility and responsibility. She knows she has been granted a reprieve that was denied to countless others. Her appreciation is directed not just at the man, but at the sheer, miraculous timing of the universe. For the millionaire, the accidental nature of the discovery validates his intuition and his deep-seated desire to find authenticity outside the engineered systems of his industry. He didn't seek her out through talent scouts. He found her by accident, making the talent feel earned by fate, not purchased by strategy. This accidental encounter provides his wealth with a moral purpose, turning his financial power into an instrument of spontaneous, moral justice. The power of the story is that it reassures the audience that sometimes the only thing required to turn a life around is simply to be present, to keep working, and to wait for the unpredictable moment when your effort and luck finally intersect. The narrative's constant emphasis on the fragility of the encounter, the fraction of a second that separated her past from her future, serves as a compelling reminder of the delicacy of success. It suggests that every second of her hardship was simply time spent waiting for the right time to arrive, and that perseverance is merely the art of holding on until fate delivers its package. The physical proximity of extreme wealth and extreme poverty in the city of LA is exploited to its maximum dramatic effect, creating a geographically logical but socially miraculous crossing of paths. The enduring power of this keynote is its ability to transform a difficult reality into a hopeful fable, proving that the most important audience is often the one you never expected to find. This single, unrepeatable moment of perfect chance becomes the anchor point of her destiny, ensuring that her life, forever altered, will always carry the memory of that spectacular, improbable coincidence. The millionaire's simple act of stopping, driven by sound alone, validates the age-old cinematic trope that one moment, one decision, one unexpected encounter can erase years of struggle, closing the gap between potential and reality in an instant. This confluence of preparation and pure chance solidifies the story's uplifting message that even in the largest, most indifferent cities, individual destiny can be governed by a fleeting, magical moment of perfect synchronicity. The entire narrative hinges on the belief that sustained effort is the key, but serendipity is the lockpicker, opening the door to a future that was always deserved, but was only accessible through the improbable grace of being in the right place, at the exact right moment. And in that moment, as Maya's voice faded, the traffic didn't matter, the city didn't matter, the only thing that mattered was the man who had stopped. The millionaire, Richard Sterling, stepped out of the shadow of the skyscraper, and for the first time, Maya saw him clearly, not a weary passerby, but a figure of immense power. His face marked by an emotion she didn't expect. He didn't toss a bill, he didn't offer a polite critique. Instead, he walked slowly toward her, pulling a small, embossed card from his jacket pocket. "That," he said, his voice surprisingly soft yet commanding, "was the most honest thing I've heard in 20 years. You weren't singing for the street, were you? You were singing for your life." Maya, holding her breath, could only shake her head, tears welling as the weight of his attention settled on her. Richard Sterling placed the card in her hand, the expensive paper a stark contrast to her calloused fingers. "I own Ethel Records," he stated simply, "and I don't just sign talent, I fund dreams. Your voice deserves a stage where it doesn't have to fight traffic." He paused, letting the name of the colossal record label sink in. "I'm not offering you a contract to audition. I'm offering you a full, unconditional development deal, a six-figure investment to get you and your family stable, debt-free, and into a studio that's waiting for you right now." Maya's eyes blurred as she stared at the card, then up at the man. The reality of his words, the debt, the struggle, the fear, all gone in a single, unforeseen moment, was too much to process. Her guitar slipped from her grasp, clattering softly on the pavement as the sudden, overwhelming wave of hope washed over her. She stood stunned, paralyzed by the sheer magnificent absurdity of her luck, realizing the man who had just passed by hadn't just changed her evening. He had changed her entire world.